I decided I was going to think about selling the house, and one day I got a phone call from a realtor in Belize, in a little town of San Pedro, and they said, hey, we got someone who wants to buy your house. It was a gal, I'm not going to tell you her name, it starts with an S, so we'll call her Miss S, because Miss S now is in jail for 15 years. So Miss S decides that she's going to make an offer on my house, and it's a good offer. She gave me a chunk of money, put it down on the house, and we went into escrow, and at the end of escrow, I get a call from Miss S, and she says, I can't really come up with the money because it's all locked up overseas. Could you, give me a little extension? And I said, well, if you want to put more money in escrow, because legally I'm going to take the money that you put there. So it went like this a couple of times, and she seemed to have a lot of money. It was really interesting. Miss S was buying this house buying my house for her boyfriend. And her boyfriend is a guy named Waldo Johnson, and he's a great guy. Turns out he actually bought the house and she helped him out with a little bit of the money. I remember when we were going to close the escrow, I'm sitting in the realtor's office and I'm looking out the window and I see this boat coming up to the dock and this guy in a white linen suit with a big giant hat, and I see him coming in. I'm thinking, okay, great, I'm going to get to meet Waldo. I hadn't actually met Waldo before. So I see him getting out of the boat and I figure, okay, I'm going to go to the men's room here quick before we do all these paperworks and stuff like that. So I go to the men's room. I'm in there for, gosh, a couple of minutes. Waldo had come in, and signed the papers and left before I could even get out of the bathroom. So I still hadn't met Waldo, the guy that's buying my house. So Waldo Johnson's always been a big kind of mystery to me, although I've spoken with him on the phone a couple times.
I would hear stories of Waldo, and Tom didn't really know him, but the stories I heard were he sounded like kind of an interesting guy, but I knew nothing about him. And then when Tom called Waldo to say, hey, we're coming down, love to see the house, he invited us to actually stay there. So it was quite an interesting adventure to head up there when you don't really know what you're going into.
Well, Tom told me that he built a house almost 10 years ago and sold it to a gentleman named Waldo Johnson. And the way Tom described it was on the water, octagon kind of shaped, 2 sections of it, and looked right on the beach. So I was quite excited to see it. And then when I got there, it was a very beautiful house, little run down, needed some work, but it was still, the scenery was just undescribable.